Hey yo, this message goes out to every black man. I'm gonna title this video something that every black man should know. Every black man should know this. Every black man, far and wide, nationwide, worldwide. It's something that I don't know. I don't know if you learn it or you already know it and like it's innately in you, and you might not know it. I guess you know what I mean. I had to really kind of come into fully understanding what it is, though. You know what I'm saying? And before I say this, I'm gonna say this. I know that on different channels, throughout the YouTube universe, a lot of people have a lot to say about black men, to black men, for black men. There's a lot of that, I'm gonna be honest, but and I can get on here and say, black man, you are magic. Black man, we were kings. But I can say all that. But what I find valuable about YouTube, and I'm gonna get to the point, is that everybody has an experience, and because everybody has an experience, there'll never be a shortage of videos. This is something that I learned in my experience, and I think it's something that needs to be echoed. It's definitely been said before. It has to, it had to, but I'm not the only one that feels this way. I know I'm not. You know what I mean? But I want to just come out and just echo it, I guess, if you haven't heard it before. But we black men, we always say we're not a monolith, right? It takes a while for us to figure out who we really are, because we spend so much time traversing through a field, like a minefield full of bombs and stuff like that, and hardening a shell that we don't need, that doesn't need to necessarily be there, right? We spend a lot of time not knowing, you know what I'm saying, who we really are, and trying to be, not even trying to be, having to be something that God did not intend for us to be. You get what I'm saying? Like, God didn't intend for us to be, in my opinion, thugs. God didn't intend for us to be gang members, street individuals. He didn't intend for that. I believe that God intended man to be king and woman to be queen. We can get into all the colonialism and the transatlantic slave trade, and we can get into that. I'm speaking about black. I'm not talking about just the American experience. I'm speaking about black. The negativity that's connected to being a black man is that's not what God intended us to. That's not what we were intended. That's not our intended purpose. So now I'm gonna get to my main point. I believe that the main thing that we need to learn, this is something that every black man should know, is that if you make wrong decisions in life, first of all, there's nobody there to catch you when you fall, because nobody wants to catch us when we fall, right? And who we really are, we come into later. Don't spend so much time living inside of the hard shell version of you. Don't spend so much time living in that hard shell version of you. And I know that means a lot. I know that's saying a lot, and it's easier said than done. I know that. As a black man, I know that. But we spend so much time defending ourselves on a mass level, like for whatever reason, on different levels, different layers, just verbally, physically, emotionally, mentally. We spend so much time doing that I'm 36, you're already be 37. I'm looking up and I'm finally seeing black men being actual black men. And I don't mean, being fathers necessarily, right? I'm talking about, because who you are is who you are, regardless of kids and marriage and all that. I'm seeing us become the people that we were originally intended to become. So I said this before, we're not who we are, I think, as adults. As people, until we're adults, obviously, right? You live and you learn and things like that. A lot of my friends and people that I grew up with and people I call brothers, if you look back 20 years back or 15 years back, were entirely different people, looked entirely different, dressed differently, all that stuff, right? And mentality was different. What they would do was different. There are some people that you might even have called violent, right? You might have called a thug, you might have called a gang member, right? And now they're regular stand-up adults. And the reason why that happens is because the stuff that you're around and the thing, and it's just if you're lucky, the stuff that you're around and your understanding and your maturity level raises. And it's not just about maturing, right? It's about what happens when you mature, right? It's about being comfortable in who you are. And nobody's telling you you have to be this, right? We spend so much time saying, oh, well, you have to be this, you need to be that. You got to dress like this. This how you get the girls. This how you make the men respect you. This is how you conduct yourself in the street. All that was true back then, right? All that was true. And you even find this from people that are, retired members, right? They might have been gang members. They might have been in the street. They might have been hustlers. They might have been, what I'm saying, men that might have, dabbled in with a lot of women and got money out of women. I don't want to use that term, but essentially, players, right? And they were in the game doing their thing, and dealers and all that. And they had to, they did their thing, right? And 20 years later, 30 years later, you interview them, they got Kangol hats on, they just smooth and laid back because they've been there, done that, which is true, right? I get it. They've been there, done that. They might be just too old for it, whatever. But I think in reality, even if their body didn't get old, your mind experiences things and it learns and it builds an understanding. You start to learn critical thinking skills. You start to learn the reality of the world. You do this, you go to jail. You do this with that person tells. You guys both go to jail, or you go to jail, right? Or you tell, they go to jail. Either way, your street situation is over. Your street, all that, your that life is over with. You know what I'm saying? At least for the time being. There's so many different ways to go about it, and there's so many different ways that things happen. But I'm just saying that to say we like to think of ourselves as one group, right? You see a lot of people even see us as one group. You see black men, and very rarely do you see a unique black man, like a black man that's just different, right? A lot of us that come from certain neighborhoods and certain places, they only see one type of black men. I know from ample experience, there's thousands of different types of people, black men included. As I'm driving now, I could probably point out, if I were to pull off the road here, I could point out 1,000 different types of black men. But there are some people that only see one. And that's because of the environment that they're in. But that goes to show you that it's important that you understand that, and to get around Cuzzo, it's important that you understand that you don't have to be one person. You don't have to be. You're as a black man, you don't have to be one person. You don't have to be one type of black man. You don't have to be NBA Youngboy. You don't have to be, you get what I'm saying? NBA Youngboy is him. You don't have to be all the different rappers. You don't have to be a street individual, a thug, a player, or whatever. You don't have to go to the NBA. You don't have to play football. Right? Your daddy wants you to, your mama wants you to, but you don't have to play football. You don't have to play basketball. You could become a physicist. You can become a scientist. You can kind of do what you want to do. The world is your oyster in a sense. That's how you have to look at it. In reality, we know our limitations. Well, we know the limitations set upon us. But you know what? Breaking the limits and busting out your shell, we do that for the love of the game. You know what I'm saying? We do that because we love the game. In a sense, when you hold, pressure bust pipes, right? When you try to hold us down, when we pop out of that, it's something to behold. Like, it's different. It's different when you held down and you pop out of it. It's different. It's different, man. I think even when raising kids, like if you're raising a black child, you know what I'm saying? Period, black child, male or female, when you're raising them, let them know that what they see, she don't have to be a city girl. She doesn't have to be. Let her know that up front. He don't have to be a thug. Let him know that up front. He don't, you know what I'm saying? Because what ends up happening is that person comes up around people that force him to look at life one way. And if that kid doesn't have the critical thinking skills and the confidence in who they are, which a lot of us don't, because we're not taught that skill. We tend to follow in somebody's footsteps, right? And then by the time you look up, by the time you come up for air, you're not even who you were supposed to be. You are somebody else. And we could say, so-and-so ain't built for that. And we could say all that all day, but nobody is actually built for this. This is built for that life. Nobody's built for that life. What it is you're put in a situation and you have to thrive. You can either get played or play, and you gonna make that decision. You don't want to be in that. Nobody in jail wants to be. People don't want to be in jail like that. You're gonna run into a couple people that something's wrong with them, but we're not talking about mental health issues in this. We're not talking about somebody being mentally disturbed. We're talking about a person, a black man, feeling empowered to be himself. You like anime. I like anime. You like anime? Do that. Like anime, watch anime, read manga, all that. You know what I'm saying? You want to be a tattoo artist. You want to cut hair, do all of the things that you want to do. Things don't have to be, let me just tell you a quick story. This is how bad I was in terms of looking at life properly, right? Looking at life the way that I'm telling you to look at life. I wasn't looking at life that way. Let me tell you how bad it was. So when me and my wife got married, we sat down with we had premarital coaching, right? And did premarital counseling and all that stuff. And one of the things my wife said that she wants to do, my black wife said that she wants to do, right, is she wants to have fun. She wants to do things, right? She wants to have fun, go out, do things, and experience different things. And to me, being limited, right, and thinking and having that 90s mentality, stuff got to be cool, always worried about something making you look a certain way. Oh, I can't do that. That's going to make me look soft. That's your wife. I had to get that through my thick ass head. That's your wife. That's not your homie, right? That's not your homie. You didn't marry if you marry your homie, that's on you. You know what I'm saying? But that's not your homie. That's your wife. You know, and part of protecting her is not putting her in a situation where she's not happy. It's part of it. That's how we protect each other, right? But so from that, here's what happened. I ended up saying, as a young, ignorant young guy, right? I know I love this person. I know, I want to be with this person. That's one thing I did know. The thing that I didn't know is that assuming that going skydiving and assuming that doing all these different fun things that now I'm not saying she's going to go skydiving. That's a focus she has. People change over time, but I'm giving you an example that didn't come up, but examples of things I thought was square business. Right. And so what ended up happening was they basically were like, is this something you think white people have this type of fun? Do you think this is for like white people or something? And that's essentially what I thought. This was not that long ago, you guys. This was 7 years ago, basically. This is basically 7 years ago. And so our coach, our premarital coach, basically said, hey, so I get how you feel, I understand it, but it's important that you guys experience new things. It might not be jumping off a cliff or and gliding down or whatever, or parachuting or going or hang gliding or whatever. It might not be that. It could be a bunch of different things, right? Bunch of different levels. But I need you guys to do a few things. And he listed off those few things. And one of the things he said was, I need you guys to have white people fun. And it sounds crazy, right? It sounds like levels of racist, levels of all kind of stuff. But but hang with me. The reason he said that was because that's how I looked at it. I looked at it like it was only for a certain group of people. And now, 7 years later, as a grown man, I understand that fun, first of all, has no color. It's crazy that I was an adult that was looking at things that way. But another thing is, I have to shed all of that hurt and all of that trauma and all of that stuff that the world told me I should do. The world told me I was supposed to be this and act like this and walk like this, right? And I felt like I needed to protect myself, to make sure that nobody tried me. But let's be real. We're not in jail. We're not in a penitentiary. So living like that it will cause PTSD. It will limit how much fun you have. It will limit how you love. It will limit what you do. It limits you, and it's not even somebody physically limiting you. Right? Some of y'all call each other alpha male. You call yourself an alpha male, right? Stupidest term ever. But you call yourself an alpha male. You haven't even shed yourself of that. Right? There's so much mental health work we have to do. Black men, you don't have to be one thing. You could be 50 things. None of those have to be negative. If you're in a situation where people are testing you and you're a grown Black man and you have the ability to leave out of the situation and seek something positive, go do that. That doesn't mean you're soft. Save all that tough guy stuff for an intruder in your home around your family. Save all that for if somebody were to hurt your wife or hurt your child, right? Save all that for that. That's when you can be tough. That's it. You don't need to do all the extra stuff. You don't need to do that. Take a penitentiary chance for your kids, for your wife. Take a penitentiary chance for them. You taking penitentiary chances for maybe some respect of somebody that will be unalived over, out there in the streets. Nobody's gonna remember you had to get active. But anyway, I don't work myself up. But anyway, yeah, man, we are not one thing. We are not one thing, and we won't move like we're one thing. We won't move like we're just thugs. We won't move like we're just players, like we're just sport, like we have to be basketball players. Do what you want to do. If you want to be a basketball player, do that. If you want to be a football player, do that. That's a positive ass thing. Like, do that. But don't think that these are your only options. Don't think these are only options. Please don't. I'm gonna holler at y'all, man.